All right.
All right, so hello everyone. My name is Lauren,
And I'm Brooke.
and today we are responding to the question of the day: how can we evaluate the Catholic theology of marriage? So, from someone who is religious, but I'm not Catholic, I wasn't surprised reading this article, I guess. I kind of knew going into it the kind of things that were going to be talked about. I don't know if you felt the same way, but I wasn't particularly surprised.
Yeah, I honestly wasn't surprised either. And I'm not like a religious person. So, like, parts of it I understood, parts of it I didn't. I mean, it just kind of
Yeah.
went with what I understood and tried to grasp it as best as I could.
Yeah, there were some parts that I did agree with, and then there were some parts that I could see. I kind of saw his reasoning behind it, but I personally didn't agree. So starting
Yeah.
off with um, we can start with birth control, I guess.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, personally myself, I know a ton of friends that use birth control, and as someone who is religious, I don't see myself as sinning against God by doing that. Um, I do agree with the article when it talks about how sexual intimacy should be something between not necessarily husband and wife, but someone who's in, a marriage and that love is there. I agree with that part, but as someone who's in a relationship and, wanting to be close to their partner but isn't ready to have children yet, I don't think that that is such a bad thing, personally.
I don't either. And to kind of elaborate on that, like, he was saying it was kind of like a violation of life and natural like processes and stuff. But at the same time, if you're not ready to have that child, I feel like that could also be a violation kind of their life almost. Like them
Totally.
not getting what they need as they're growing up.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I don't believe that if you're having sex, you're asking to have a family, because if you're taking the right precautions, you're saving that child from having, if you
Exactly.
have enough financial stability to provide for them and you know that ahead of time, I think you're being responsible and not putting that child in a situation that they didn't ask for.
Yeah, that's what my thinking is on it too.
Yeah. And then when it talked about, I think it I think the term was like responsible parenting, what the definition was
Mhm.
on that. Um, I think that responsible parenting can be a lot of different things other than just having sex to have children. I think if you're responsible parenting, there's a lot of other things that go into being a responsible parent other than just that.
Yeah, and everybody's definition of responsible parents can be different also, I think. I mean, your
Mhm.
definition of it could be completely different from
Yeah.
mine.
No, I totally agree with that.
Hmm.
And I think that, I mean, I know a lot of people or a lot of families that are religious and they have a child and they don't want to have another child back to back to back. They want to space it out 2 or 3 years and still want to have that intimacy with their partner. And I don't see anything wrong with that. Um, or, spacing it out accordingly to maybe they'll be in a better financial position in a couple years, or maybe the first child will be a little bit older, that kind of thing. I feel like they're not just thinking about themselves, they're not being selfish in that sense. So
I think that's responsible because if you're like planning and
right.
like prioritizing type of thing, getting your life together, to me, that just, I don't know, that seems like the responsible thing to do.
Right, no, I totally agree with that. I
Yeah.
totally agree. Did you have anything else? I feel like there was one other thing that I wanted to talk about.
I think it might have been like married love.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have written down like, yeah, it says love is like total, meaning like the husband and wife share like everything type of thing, like just like a different kind of bond. It's like a special friendship. I mean, that's what I got from it at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah. And I agreed with a lot of the descriptions that he said about like why people get married, what it means to be married. So that part I completely agreed with, but just getting into kind of the nitty gritty things as far as like procreation and that type of thing is where I saw my views kind of, you know, not aligning exactly with what he was saying. But
Yeah, and some of that stuff to me didn't quite make a lot of sense.
Yeah. I thought the beginning was a little hard to understand, but then when he got into like, I kind of liked at the end of the article how he was addressing everyone, like these different groups individually.
Nurses, and I think
Hmm.
also Elizabeth. I mean, yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Right. But I think it was when he was addressing, let me see if I can find it. If it was just married couples
I
or
think that's one of
couples,
the
um, basically saying that it's their duty to kind of, have a marriage through God and then to like pass that on to others and teach others. I like the concept of that, but I don't like the views on that you're entitled to this as far as having kids and you should do this, shouldn't do this type of thing. So,
And
yeah.
again, I mean, that's gonna be different for everybody. Also, like, my definition of a married couple is probably different. I mean, just
I,
the thing you're gonna do is different.
right.
So,
I feel like especially for the whole concept of, having kids and being married, there's a lot of gray area. It's not going to be black and white. People aren't going to see it exactly the same. Um,
mhm.
so I don't know. I feel like that's a hard thing to kind of establish rules on, like, and try to make this gray area black and white as far as this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do. Because, I mean, we could talk about people that have kids and aren't even married. Like, is
Yeah,
that a horrible sin? I don't think so, personally. Um,
I mean, that's just kind of what they chose and
right.
how they manage life with that. That's up to them.
And the question of the day last week, I think it was like, is every relationship going to benefit by getting married? And I really liked that question because personally, I think that my relationship would benefit, but I know a ton of people who I don't think it would. And I think that they're perfectly happy, living together. They don't need to get married, whether they're not very religious or it's not going to mean, you know, anything to them. I don't think that they have to get married. So that's kind of the same for if you're not married and you have kids. Well, that works for a lot of people. So
Well,
there's,
and even if you get married, some people have problems afterwards. Like, I mean, if it's
yeah,
biblical, don't worry about it.
right. Yeah. I think that's all I had.
That's all I have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for watching.